Good morning, guys. This is Erica from Artsi. I am coming live to you today for a training that I'm going to do on how to write your shop policies in Artsi, as well as I'm going to go over some small business tools that may be helpful to some of you. Um, and so this should be I always say this. I always say it shouldn't be too long of a training, and then it ends up being a long one. I usually try and keep them to about an hour. My guess is this one may be more like 45 minutes. So I'm going to walk you through some basics on where your shop policies are, how you can write a shop policy, what sort of policies you probably should consider writing for your shop, um, and then wrap up with a couple more tools. So I want to start off with a couple little caveats here first. While I'm doing that, I just noticed I'm logged in as admin, so I want to log out. And let's go back here. So the first one is I want to say good morning to whoever just logged on. Feel free to drop in the comments and say hello, whoever's viewing. And then I know for a lot of you guys watch these after the fact. So still feel free to leave comments when you guys watch these, even if they're not live, like if you guys have questions and stuff, because I'll get to those. But so the couple of things that I want to mention, especially with this training, is that I want to make sure everyone understands, one, I'm not a lawyer. Two, I'm not an accountant. And so the stuff that I'm going to go through with you today, I'm sharing with you from like a human to human, store owner to store owner, just sharing advice of what I've learned, but it's not official financial advice or legal advice. So with anything legal and anything financial, you guys are going to want to make sure that you seek out a professional opinion, rather than rely on what I tell you. But I'm going to share to the best of my knowledge, and as far as, the way how I operate things, what I do. And so you can take that with a grain of salt. Hopefully it should still be very helpful to you guys, but that will also make some more sense as to why I'm sharing in the way that I'm sharing some of the stuff with you guys, is because, again, I'm not a lawyer and I'm not an accountant, and so I don't want to mislead you guys in any way. It's tricky because our growing group of vendors are literally from all over the world, which is amazing. But as you guys probably know, legally and when it comes to financial laws and rules and business, it's so varied from country to country, and even within countries, like, the different states or provinces or things that it would be impossible for me to know, like, your specific situation from where you're at. So that was the first little disclaimer I want to make. The second one is, and for some of you who watch these frequently, you're probably getting tired of hearing this, but I just want to be upfront about some of the links that I use, maybe affiliate links. So Artsy is completely free to you while we're building. One of the ways that you can help support us so that we can stay open and continue to offer everything free is that if you choose to use any of the tools that I'm sharing with you, basically we just get a commission from that company for referring you to that business. So anything that I'm sharing with you guys or doing trainings on are things that I would have shared with you no matter what. They're tools that I already use, and I'm going to show you today, like when we go through, you're going to actually see, I'm going to show you behind the scenes where, like, I've set up my bank account here and here's what it looks like. I've set up my accounting here and here's what it looks like. So that you can actually see, like, these are real things that I actually use. And so I'm recommending them because I like them, and I like them for reasons that I'll share with you guys. So with that, let's go ahead and hop in. We're going to start off with the primary part of this training, which is setting up your shop policies. So the first thing I want to show you about shop policies, you should be able to see on my screen right now, I'm on the Artsy page. I'm going to go ahead and log in to my vendor account. And if you're new to watching one of these trainings, I am Astrid Arts. It started off as a test account, but if you don't know the backstory of Artsy, it started off with, I also just fell in love with I fell in love with everything AI. I started off with AI writers, and then it moved to AI art. And so I fell in love with the AI art thing. I started trying to sell my art on Etsy, which I sell other stuff, like graphic designs and different things. So I had an Etsy shop and a creative market shop. And my AI art stuff, if I mentioned that it was AI, it was just tanking on Etsy. And it's, I don't know this for certain, but it just felt like their algorithms are set up to kind of de-rank anything that's mentioning artificial intelligence or AI. And compared to my normal, I'm putting air quotes around the word normal, my like normal listings, those would get tons of views and had no issues. And so it was one of those things I decided, I'm just going to set up my own site and I'm going to promote it from my own site instead so I have more control. And that's how Artsi got started. Is this started off as my personal site, and then I switched it over to a marketplace about a month ago. So, Astrid's my account. I use it for testing, but I also throw some listings up there. So I'm in Astrid's account, and we're going to go down here to settings. So settings is the very first place that you're going to want to go to as a new vendor, and you want to make sure you set up all this information. But what we're going to focus on today is the store policies option. So when you click on store policies, it's basically just an open text space here. And what I'm recommending to everyone is that you enable your store policies, and then you make use of this space to write in store policies. So why? So let's go through the reasons why you want to do this. So Artsi is set up to be a lot like Etsy in that we are providing you a platform for you to sell your products or services to people. So we are not, every shop is completely independent. So short of you just making sure you follow our basic rules, like you're not trying to like sell illegal things or being totally inappropriate, you're free to run your shop the way that you want to run your shop. That means you have autonomy over how you price things, what you list, as long as you're within our terms of service. So with that, we're separated legally. So it's, you're in charge of figuring out or deciding for yourself, which is a good thing. How do you want to handle returns or refunds? How do you want to handle doing your shipping? How do you want to, do these things? And so as a small business owner with a shop on here, you want to really think through, what are my rules for how I'm going to operate my shop, and how I'm going to interact with my customers. And so when customers have questions, when they want a refund, if they want to do something, they're going to be messaging directly with you, and it will be you that will get to tell them like, yes, I will issue a refund. And you have the ability to do that straight from within, your dashboard and to manage your people. But the best way for you to protect yourself and to minimize any sort of potential like customer service issues is to have very clear store policies outlined here, so that way when people are asking about like, well, why won't you give me a refund on my digital download, you're able to be like, it says right here that due to the nature of digital downloads, I don't offer refunds, right? And then it becomes a personal decision as to whether or not, if someone's really upset, what you want to do with them. But those store policies are really going to help protect you. And so it's a good idea to take some time to write out your store policies and put that in there. Once you write out the store policies, I'm going to hop over here where we can see Astrid's account. You're going to see that there is a new tab that will show up when you enable it, and you'll have this little policies section, and then everything that you put in there will show up here in your policies. It's a really good idea that once you fill that out, I would suggest right here's the URL. So Artsi AI shops, your shop, and then it's /policies. I would include that link in even like just extra to make sure that you're super clear to people what your policies are. I would just put them in your product listings. So when you do your product listings, just say like, see our shop policies here. And that will keep you from having to put like, if you ever look on Etsy listings, you'll see in people's descriptions, they'll write like, a 50-page disclaimer that they're putting in there. That will keep you from having to do that. And instead you can just say, see our shop policies here, and then put the link, and then it'll take you here to the shop policies. So talking about that, let's talk through then, how do you know what to write? What do you want to write? And for a lot of people, it's very intimidating, the idea of writing what could be considered kind of like legal writing. So again, not a lawyer, but sometimes people make it a little bit more complicated than it needs to be. So it doesn't have to be like an airtight contract with a bunch of legalese. Basically, you just want to think it through. You're just communicating human to human as clearly as you can. What are the terms if they buy from you? So if someone buys something and they don't like it, how are you going to handle that? If someone wants a refund, how are you going to handle that? If you're shipping physical product, what are expectations people can expect? Do you offer any sort of guarantees? So these are the sorts of things you're going to want to kind of think through. When I put this video up, there are links that I put in the description. And so one of the links that I put up is one that's artsi.ai template/policies. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to put this right here. So that's the link. You can grab that from the description. And when this pulls up, it's going to pull up a Word document. Okay, and inside this Word document, you might be like, well, this isn't very helpful for a template. This will make a lot more sense here in a minute. So legally, it would be a bad idea for me to just hand you guys a written legal template, because then it's going to seem like I'm giving you guys legal advice, and someone could say, well, I just took what Artsi gave us, and so therefore I'm not responsible, Artsi is. So for that reason, what I'm doing is I'm giving you a list of suggested policies, and I'm going to show you a tool where you can write it literally in seconds, and for free, and then you can customize it to however you want it to be. So that's kind of what this template is about. So this is meant to be copy and paste, and then where we're going to take it to is a tool called Jasper. So Jasper this was how I first fell in love with AI. They are an AI content platform. They started off as a, like not blog writing, but just writing, like a writing assistant. And then they've really expanded. So basically everything you could possibly imagine writing wise, they have an amazing AI driven writing assistant. I use it for everything. And so then last month maybe, or I guess it's been a little bit more than a month, they launched their beta of an art platform. So now they're doing art generation, which is then what led to me launching Artsi. So Jasper, they have all sorts of different templates inside, and so that's what I'm going to show you what we're going to operate in. But in the links that I gave you, there is a link that's artsi.ai/go/Jasper. If you use that link, you will get 10,000 free words, and you're going to see like what I'm going to do here in a minute. But as I go through these, will probably be less than 1,000 words. So you can write your policies completely for free. It gives you a chance to kind of just see what it does, play around with an AI writer. And then I have another training, if you haven't watched it, I'm writing product descriptions, and I walked through and showed you guys how I use Jasper to write product descriptions, which Jasper is fabulous for that. So what you're going to do is you're just going to copy and paste everything below this bright green, and we're going to need that for when we go into Jasper. So you're going to set up your Jasper account. I'm going to go ahead and close this. And you're going to land inside the dashboard. So this is what the dashboard looks like. From the dashboard, you have both templates and documents. So these are the two main places you're going to operate from when doing writing in Jasper. The templates are amazing. This is where you do like product descriptions and different things. They have, I think, almost 60 different ones now. My internet is running super slow today, and so I've been having trouble getting stuff to load on my screen all day, so I apologize if that's not working. But with the templates, when you go in there, they have like a product description template, Facebook ads, they have something called the one-shot blog post, where literally you like put in your topic and a few details and it just generates a whole blog post. They have marketing stuff called like ADA, which is like attention, interest, desire, action. Those work great for product descriptions. They have a ton of them. It's really cool. So today that's not what the focus is. Today it's policy. So I'm going to go to documents. And in documents, I'm just going to start from scratch. So this will be the workflow you're going to follow. Is you're going to come into documents, start from scratch. And what this document is called the long form document. So it's basically just like a big text editor. And the difference between this and templates is templates are just short little blurbs. So like I just want a little like social media caption, or I just want a little product description, or I just want this little piece. And so you're doing little pieces at a time. Whereas the long form editor, it's kind of more of a workspace for you to work within. And so you can give it commands and you can generate and write long pieces rather than having to do one little piece at a time. So you could use the template to do what we're going to do today, but for me, it's much easier to use long form. So long form is part of the boss mode option, but again, you could use templates. It's just you have to go about it a different way. So with your free account though, you'll have access to long form. You'll come in here and paste that little template that I put in here. So the first thing you're going to see here is this content brief, and then I have a little sentence here. Write shop policies for an independent art store on Etsy. So you might be like, why did you say Etsy when you guys are artsy? Well, the reason for that is Jasper was trained on the internet. They just recently did an update, I think up to like 2021, with like content on the internet. It's read like 10% of the internet or something like that. And so it really helps anchor it when it has points of reference that it knows like what you're trying to do. And so when you can give it examples of, you know, not just a art store, but an art store on Etsy, so it's something very similar to what you're trying to do on Artsy. It's not going to know Artsy right now because we're too new, so it hasn't been trained on anything to have any point of reference as to what Artsy is. So Etsy is a very good comparable, so that it kind of is anchored in knowing, okay, I need to write what would an Etsy shop owner need on their store for their policies. So so in this content brief up here, you can see content description brief. I'm just copying and pasting this in here. You can play with this, but basically this is where you just kind of give instructions and a point of reference to Jasper as far as what is it that I'm even writing. And you can get really detailed in here if you want to, but for this purposes, you don't need to. You can just let it know you're writing some shop policies. Then these 3 little stars is just a Jasper thing where basically when you do 3 stars, it's telling it don't read anything up above it, only focus on what's down below. So you can either just erase these 2 lines or you can leave it. I'm going to go ahead and erase it now that I'm done with that. Here I'm going to go ahead and put in the name of my store. So I'm going to do Astrid Arts. Okay, and then what you can see here is I've put a list of some different policies here. And so I want to show you, just for kind of fun in the background, I'm going to show you how I even came up with this list in the first place, which is, again, like I said, I use Jasper for everything. So I actually use Jasper to brainstorm and come up with the list of what sort of policies I would need. So when you do a command, you use this little caret, and then you can talk to it just in normal human language. So I said, create a list of store policies. Astrid Arts needs. And then to run the command, you hit Control, Shift, and Enter. Okay, and so you can see it's actually writing out the whole thing, which is amazing because that's where we were getting ready to go anyway. But you can see that it's writing out a list of policies. So sometimes if I were to run this like 5 different times, every time it'll be a little bit different. Sometimes it may just spit out a list. Other times it may give you the full details. Sometimes it'll write it like it's trying to write you a blog post. But really the main benefit to this is it's taking away your need to like creatively or even technically like think through the details of what you need to do here, and it gives you a really good starting point. So, so that's how I started off with this list. And actually now that I'm looking at it, there's some other ones in here where it's like I like the coupon codes, so I'm gonna go ahead and leave coupon codes in here. Shipping, payment, exchange, so all that's in there. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm just going to add coupon codes to the bottom of our list. So this is just a sampling. You don't have to have all these policies, but again, this is just an example of some different policies that you can have. So what I'm going to do from here is we can, they have some formatting up here, so you can change these into headers if you want. You can bold them. So I'm just going to change these into little headers, and that just lets Jasper know that these are intended to be little sections and that I'm going to want content related to that section underneath it. So all I'm going to do it already knows from what we told it that we're writing shop policies, and now it knows this is the return policy and refund policy. I'm just going to put my cursor here. I'm going to hit compose, and it's going to go ahead and write. I'm going to un-W2 that. And so what you can do is you can just look at, and again, Jasper he works on a certain number of like characters per output. And so sometimes he will go beyond what he's doing. So you can see he went ahead and went into shipping policy. And so it's up to you. You can either just erase that, or he may have suggested something you don't even have in your list and you like it. And if you do, just add it to the bottom of your list. But here's an output for the refund policy. And so here, you're just going to read it and you're going to see, is this in line with what you want to offer for a refund policy? So in this case, it's saying, contact us within 14 days and we'll work with you on a resolution, refunds and exchanges on a case-by-case basis. But let's say instead you don't want to offer refunds at all, right? So here we can put a refund policy that does not allow refunds. Okay, so again, I'm just using a command. I'm using plain language. And so here, I'm going to put this at the end of that sentence. I'm going to hit Control, Shift, and Enter. And then it's giving you, suggestive wording on how you can do this. So the way how I do this is, right now it's taking a little bit longer because I'm going through step by step and showing you this. But I just hit my compose button. I let it, so here's when like all sales are final. And so really you're just going to generate a few different times to get some ideas in terms of the formatting you like, the type of writing that you like. So this one's doing bullet points. So if you like the bullet pointed format, you could certainly do that. Here's shipping. So it has details of how the shipping will work. And so sometimes what I'll do, even though I know that this is the topics that I want, I'll just let him keep on going if I like what's coming out. So here's some stuff on custom orders. And so I'm just going to keep hitting compose, keep letting him go. He's talking about copyright and intellectual, right? And so I've got some great stuff here that I like. So I'm going to go through and I'm going to say, okay, I'm going to make these into my headers. And now I'm just going to come down here and I'm going to compare it to, so the shipping policy has been done, the copyright and intellectual policy has been done, right? So now I'm going to come down here to lost and damaged items, and Jasper loves to follow patterns. So what he's going to look at is, okay, you've been having a header, and then you do these little bulleted lists underneath. And that's going to include like how long it is. So if you have like a super long blurb underneath here, chances are in the next one he's going to try and write a really long blurb. If you only have a sentence, the next time he's probably going to try and write a sentence. So just keep that in mind, that he's always going to be looking for patterns in how he writes. So again, there you go. So we're not responsible for that. And then you can see it keeps trying to wrap it up at this point. So like, thank you for supporting. So I'm going to get rid of that. Pull this up. And we'll do exchanges. And then cancellation. And so you can see I'm just coming in underneath each one of these. And I am letting this fill this out. And so obviously you're going to need to read through these and decide whether or not this fits what you are wanting to offer for your store. So that was a privacy policy I was trying to do. So please note and so you can see for editing, I'm just coming through, making sure our bullet points are all there, removing this. And then let's do coupon codes. Okay, and then there's our closing. So you can see how literally in like less than 10 minutes you could go through and have all of your policies written, and then you're just going to edit it down to what you want your policy to actually be. Once that's done, all you need to do is copy and paste this straight from here over into your shop, I'm going to go back to my policies. And so sometimes the pasting adds in a bunch of these extra spaces. So I'm just going to clean this up here real quick. So bear with me here. So all I'm doing is just hitting my return button and cleaning up some of these extra spaces between some of these. All right, so extra space there, extra space here. Okay, I'm gonna save that. And now, once that is saved, I'm going to hop back into my store and we'll go take a peek. Now, you may have noticed too that you can use HTML tags. So you can just Google HTML, and it's a real easy way for you to like make these bold or make these bigger, or really kind of format things if you want to get fancy. So if you wanted to bold it, it's like you make a little caret and a B and a caret in front of that, and then on the back end you do a caret, a slash, a B, a caret. So I'm not going to make this into an HTML class, but there's cheat sheets all over the internet if you just Google like HTML for headers and bolding, and then you can throw those in and you can make it more fancy if you want. So that is Policies 101. So go grab this, grab your free trial of Jasper, paste it in on long form, and just use that compose button and use those commands. So again, for commands, you're just going to do a caret, free type whatever you want. So just for fun, let's see here, like create a list of sales ideas for AstroDarts. So even though this has nothing to do with what we're doing, I just want to show you how like you can use it to brainstorm things. So create a list of sales ideas. You're going to hit Control, Shift, and Enter to run that command, and then it's giving us a list of all these different ideas that you could run for like different sales and coupons. So Jasper's fabulous for that sort of stuff. So give that a try, play around with that. And then the other part I want to go into, and this will probably be more for our US based people. I'm not totally familiar again with like what what all the different countries require. It was unclear to me, this business banking that I use, what countries they operate in, but I wanted to still share with you guys. So I put a link to artsi.ai/go/Novo. So Novo is the online banking that I've used before, not just for Artsi, but for other online businesses. And I really suggest that if you're planning on kind of going all in on, wanting to make decent sales and consistent sales on something like Artsi, but even if you're going to do it in other places too. So like a lot of times people sell on multiple platforms, but if you're doing it kind of as a side business, you want to separate those funds for easy accounting and easy tax purposes and everything else, so you very clearly can keep track of what was an expense related to my business and what is income related to my business. And so Novo is a completely free online business banking account. What I like about it was I was able to stand it up completely online application. They get back to you within a day. There's no fees related to any of it, and you can do everything you need to online. They have a great online app. Their store front on the bank side is very modern and easy. You get immediate access to a routing number and account number. You can create a virtual debit card, which will give you debit card information. They'll also send you a physical debit card. And so what's nice about this is I can connect it to Stripe. So if you look down here, I've connected the Stripe Artsi account. And so it's showing me what's coming in and out, you know, revenue wise from Stripe. So wherever you're letting your sales go through. And then anywhere that I'm going to have expenses related to Artsi as a business, I'm going to pay that through this account. And so what that allows me to do is my monthly statements become the primary accounting information that I need for my business. And at the end of the year, it makes it very easy to go through and say, here's how much money we made, here's how much we had in expenses, right? And so, so Novo is just one of those things where it is a business banking account. You don't have to have, so again, if you're in the US, you don't have to be set up as like an LLC or like an official business. So the US, again, not legal financial advice, I'm just sharing human to human what I know. So the US makes it pretty easy for you to stand up and do what's called sole proprietorship or like independent work, where you don't have to stand up that stuff in order to run a small business online. And so the way how it works is it's just your social security number instead of a bank number. And at the end of the year, you're just going to pass through, they call it passing through, any revenue that you make or any losses that you have from the business on your normal taxes with your regular income that you would otherwise report. So later on, if you grow and you get big, then that's when you can look into standing up, you know, maybe becoming an LLC would most likely be your next step you'd want to consider. But you don't need to do that. And you can stand up, still have a business account for your business as a sole proprietor. So it will just ask you, like, are you running it as an individual or as a business? You'll say individual. You'll put your credit card in, or not your credit card, you'll put your social security number in there, and then you'll still get a business account set up. The link that I gave you, if you decide, if you are in wherever they operate from, if you're able to open up a Novo account, the link that I gave you, so I've mentioned before about the affiliate links. This one's a little bit different in that you get a perk too. So if you do end up opening up one, as long as you put at least $100 in your account, which you're going to want to put some money in to seed your account anyway for any expenses and stuff. But if you transfer in $100 within your first 30 days, you're going to get $40 for having set it up using the link that is on this video. And then Artsi will get $40 into our account. So it's just a kind of an extra way to help support Artsi, but also get you your bank account and get an extra $40, which is pretty cool. So this is Novo, that's what I use. And then the last tool I was going to share with you guys is this Wave accounting. So Wave, this is also in the link, so you can go to artsi.ai/go/wave, and it's going to take you straight to the registration form. Wave is 100% free, so there's no cost to you guys to use Wave. Again, I'm not familiar with accounting standards outside of the US, so I don't know how similar that is across different countries, but basically this makes it real easy for you to, again, you can, with your Novo account, you can just link your bank account directly to it, and it will import your transactions in, so then you can just put them into categories. And then the main place that I work from is this accounting transactions. And so I just record my transactions in here for every expense that we have, revenue that's coming in. And then it really nicely, and this is going to show you how bad it is right now as far as, obviously, you know, Artsi is not making money right now, we are spending money. But you can very easily have like your profit and loss statements, information for taxes. So I'm going to hit this and you're going to see it's showing me exactly like where we're at in terms of, you know, money in, money out, where we're at. And then I'm able to like see details, which is really nice, to where I can see like where we've spent money and the breakout of that money. And so this is where I'm keeping track of everything financial for the business and what I've done in the past with other businesses. It's a nice way when you're small and you don't need like a formal accountant or anything. Because really, in reality, you shouldn't be having a ton of different transactions, but you want to make sure that when you have stuff like, let's say you do sign up for a Canva account, or you do sign up for a Jasper account, or Photoshop, or any of these other tools, or you end up doing like the premium vendor, VIP vendor package with Artsi. So if you do something like that, all of those are business expenses. And so the nice thing about a business expense is you can track it in your business, and it gets to go against any revenue that you make, which then, so again, I'm speaking from the US perspective, can't speak to other countries, but from the US perspective, those business expenses reduce your tax liability on income that you make. So if you made $100 but you spent 80 in different expenses, you're only taxed on that $20 profit because you had to spend 80 to get the 100, if that makes sense. But you have to be able to back that up and show them, if you were to ever be audited, show me your 100 you made and show me the 80 you spent, and let's make sure the 80 you spent is valid. So that's another tool, 100% free. The way that they make their money is they hope that they get enough people by putting this free option out that you'll grow to the point you'll need payroll services. They partner with people who do professional accounting, that if you get big enough and you want to use professional accounting, so they make their money on basically upsales. But if you just want to use it for basic small business accounting, completely free, very easy to use, highly recommend. So those are my tools that I wanted to share with you guys for being small business vendors that will help you build your business. Hopefully this little shop tutorial will help a lot with you guys writing up your policies. If you guys have questions, put them in the comments. I did pretty good on estimating. I said 45 minutes under, I'm at 35. So, and if you haven't watched the Jasper video I made on writing product descriptions and you liked what it was able to do with these store policies, I highly recommend checking that out. That is in the guides. So any of these videos, they always get put into the guides afterwards. So up at the, if you're on desktop, it's up at the very top bar, like where the banner is, there's a guide section. If you're on mobile, when you come into the group, there's a little hamburger menu. When you hit that, guides is one of the options. Everything training, everything resources is in those guides. So please use those. Have questions or comments, leave them on here. I'm in the group every day checking stuff, so I will respond. Make sure you guys tag me if you have something specific that you want to ask me, just to make sure, hopefully, it shows up in my notifications, and then I will get back with you. All right, thanks guys. I'll talk to you later.